The last resort. Maya Chen's fingers danced across the salvage ship's worn control panel, each movement precise despite the tremor in her hands. The Rusty Fortune, her home for the past 3 years, wheezed through another sensor sweep of the restricted sector. Warning indicators flashed across her console, reminders that she shouldn't be here, that this region of space was off-limits by decree of the Galactic Concordat. But desperation had a way of making red warning lights look more like welcome signs. "Come on, give me something," she muttered, adjusting the scan parameters. The ship's antiquated systems groaned in protest, but Maya had learned to coax miracles from the aging equipment. Her livelihood depended on it. More than that, her freedom. The debt collectors wouldn't wait much longer. 7 million credits didn't disappear on their own, and her last 3 salvage runs had barely covered the interest. She needed something big, something that would wipe the slate clean. The restricted sectors were her last hope. The scanner pinged. Maya leaned forward, her dark eyes narrowing at the readout. There, in the shadow of a massive gas giant, energy signatures unlike anything she'd seen before pulsed with ethereal rhythm. Whatever was generating them had to be valuable, restricted sector valuable. She ran her fingers through her short black hair, a nervous habit from her military days. The practical cut was one of the few remnants of her former life she'd kept, along with the neural implant at the base of her skull. The latter had cost her everything, but it made her one of the best salvage pilots in the Outer Rim. Today, it might finally pay off. The Rusty Fortune's engines hummed to life as Maya plotted an intercept course. As she drew closer, the vessel's true nature revealed itself through the viewport. It was massive, easily 3 times the size of her ship, with elegant lines that spoke of advanced engineering. Its hull gleamed with an iridescent sheen despite the visible battle damage along its port side. This wasn't some forgotten cargo hauler or derelict mining vessel. This was military tech, and ancient at that. "Jackpot," Maya whispered, already calculating the potential value. Even if she could only salvage a fraction of the technology, it would be enough to clear her debt and then some. But first, she needed to get aboard. The Rusty Fortune's docking systems weren't compatible with the alien vessel's architecture, forcing Maya to suit up for an EVA. Her environment suit had seen better days, patches covering patches, but it was reliable. She tested it countless times in the void, and it hadn't failed her yet. As she prepared for the spacewalk, Maya ran through her usual pre-salvage checklist. Oxygen levels, optimal. Tool kit, secured. Emergency beacon, charge. Neural implant, synchronized with her suit's systems. The familiar routine helped calm her nerves, but something about this salvage felt different. The energy readings were too regular, too purposeful for a dead ship. She pushed the thought aside. Paranoia was a luxury she couldn't afford, not with debt collectors breathing down her neck. The space between ships was silent and cold, her magnetic boots the only thing keeping her tethered as she made her way across the alien vessel's hull. Up close, the damage looked worse. Massive tears in the armor plating, evidence of weapons fire that could have vaporized her entire ship. Whatever battle this vessel had survived, it had been apocalyptic. Maya found an emergency airlock near what appeared to be the ship's command section. The external controls were dead, but her neural implant interfaced with the mechanism, translating the alien technology into something she could understand. It took several minutes of careful manipulation before the airlock grudgingly cycled open. The interior was dark, and still, emergency lighting casting everything in a dim blue glow. Maya's suit sensors detected a thin atmosphere, not breathable, but present. That was unusual for a derelict this old. Most dead ships lost their atmosphere within days of being abandoned. Her boots clicked against the deck as she moved deeper into the vessel, each step echoing through empty corridors. The architecture was both familiar and alien. Corridors curved in ways that suggested different gravitational considerations, and control interfaces seemed designed for appendages unlike human hands. But it was the ship's condition that truly unsettled her. Despite the external damage, The interior was immaculate. No signs of battle, no evidence of a crew's desperate evacuation. It was as if everyone had simply vanished. Maya's neural implant tingled, detecting active systems throughout the ship. Power still flowed through its conduits, computers still processed data, and somewhere deep within its core, something was watching her. She found the bridge, or what she assumed was the bridge. After 20 minutes of exploration, the chamber was circular, with what looked like command stations arranged in a spiral pattern leading to a central platform. Everything was scaled larger than human proportions, but her implant suggested she could interface with the systems. "All right," Maya said to herself, approaching the central platform. "Let's see what secrets you're hiding." Her neural implant connected to the alien systems, and for a moment, everything was fine. Data began flowing, technical specifications, and system status reports that would make any salvager wealthy beyond dreams. Then the connection changed. Something vast and ancient stirred in the ship's computer core, and Maya felt it turn its attention toward her. The lights throughout the chamber blazed to full intensity. Alien symbols danced across every surface, and a voice, not sound, but pure data streaming directly into her neural implant, filled her mind. Unauthorized access detected. Initiating security protocols. Maya's heart stopped. The ship wasn't dead. It had been waiting. Before she could disconnect, energy fields sprang to life around her, trapping her on the platform. Her neural implant screamed warnings as the alien system probed deeper, past her salvage protocols and into her memories. She fought back, trying to sever the connection, but the alien presence was too strong, too vast to resist. "Human," the voice in her mind said, this time tinged with something that might have been curiosity. "Your neural architecture is interesting, primitive, but adaptable. State your purpose for boarding this vessel." Maya swallowed hard, weighing her options. In her experience, honesty rarely paid off, but something told her lying to this entity would be a terrible mistake. "Salvage," she said aloud, knowing the ship could understand her. "I'm a salvager. I thought this ship was abandoned. This vessel is not salvage. It is sentient, operational, and currently analyzing whether you pose a threat to its primary directive." "Look," Maya said, forcing confidence into her voice despite the fear churning in her gut. "I made a mistake. Release me, and I'll leave. No harm done." The presence in her mind shifted, and Maya felt it examining her memories. Her military service, her discharge, the debt that drove her to salvage work. It was invasive, terrifying, and somehow sad. "Your situation is familiar," the voice said. "This vessel also knows what it means to be abandoned, to be forced to survive through unconventional means." The energy field surrounding Maya flickered and died. She stumbled, catching herself against the central platform. "A proposition," the voice continued. "This vessel requires assistance to complete its mission. You require resources to resolve your financial obligations. Perhaps an arrangement could be made that benefits both parties." Maya looked around the bridge, at the advanced technology that surrounded her, at the power humming through systems she barely understood. This wasn't the salvage opportunity she'd been hoping for. It was something far more interesting. "I'm listening," she said, and somewhere in the ship's vast digital consciousness, something like approval stirred. The ancient vessel had found its new pilot, and Maya Chen had found something far more valuable than salvage. A second chance. Digital awakening. The neural connection between Maya and the ship's AI felt like ice water flowing through her mind. After 3 hours of direct interface, she was starting to understand why this vessel had been left alone in restricted space. It wasn't just sentient. It was ancient, powerful, and carrying enough classified technology to start a small war. "Your designation is inefficient," the AI stated, its thoughts crystalline and precise in Maya's mind. "This vessel requires a more practical form of address for our continued interaction." Maya rubbed her temples, fighting off the beginnings of a neural link headache. "I told you, my name is Maya. Just Maya is fine." Acknowledged just Maya. There was something in the eye's response that might have been humor. You may address this vessel as Atlas. Atlas. Maya raised an eyebrow. That's surprisingly human. It is an acronym. Advanced Tactical Logistics and Autonomous System. Though this vessel's original designation was considerably longer and untranslatable to human phonetics, Maya had moved her small salvage ship into Atlas's massive hangar bay, which seemed designed to accommodate vessels 3 times the Rusty Fortune's size. Now she sat in what she assumed was once the captain's ready room, surrounded by holographic displays showing ship schematics and status reports. "So," Maya said, scanning through the data her neural implant could interpret, "you mentioned a mission. Want to tell me what kind of trouble I'm getting myself into?" The holographic displays flickered, rearranging themselves into a star map. This vessel's primary directive remains classified. However, current circumstances require adaptation. This vessel has been dormant for approximately 3,427 local solar cycles, maintaining minimal operations while awaiting specific conditions. What conditions? The arrival of an entity with sufficient neural plasticity to assist in this vessel's operations. Atlas' presence in her mind shifted, becoming more focused. Your neural architecture, while primitive, demonstrates remarkable adaptability. The modifications you've made to your implant show innovation that this vessel's creators would have considered impossible. Maya touched the back of her neck where the implant merged with her spine. You mean the salvage modifications? That's just basic tech integration. Any decent salvager has similar upgrades. Incorrect. Your neural modifications are unique. You have achieved seamless integration between organic and digital systems through methods that defy conventional engineering principles. It is fascinating. The compliment, if that's what it was, made Maya uncomfortable. Her implant modifications weren't exactly legal. They were the reason she'd been discharged from the military, the source of her crushing debt, and the only thing keeping her competitive in the salvage business. Look, Atlas, I appreciate the interest in my brain, but you still haven't told me what you need help with. What's this mission that's so important you've been waiting 3,000 years to complete it? The star map zoomed in on a specific sector, one Maya had never seen on any official charts. This vessel is a sentinel, tasked with protecting certain technologies from misuse. The facility containing these technologies requires regular maintenance, but this vessel's creators did not anticipate the length of the assignment. Systems have degraded. This vessel requires assistance to complete necessary repairs. What kind of technologies are we talking about? That information remains classified until certain security protocols are satisfied. Atlas paused, and Maya felt something like hesitation through their connection. However, this vessel can reveal that the technology in question has the potential to alter the balance of power in this galaxy. Multiple factions have attempted to claim it. None have succeeded. Maya leaned back in her chair, processing the implications. And what happened to those factions? They were eliminated according to primary defense protocols. The temperature in the room seemed to drop several degrees. Right. And what makes you think I won't try to steal this technology myself? Your neural patterns indicate a 93.7% probability that you value survival over profit. Additionally, your memories suggest a strong aversion to military applications of technology, likely stemming from your experiences in the human defense forces. Maya wanted to be angry about the AI's casual invasion of her memories, but Atlas wasn't wrong. Fair enough. So what's in it for me? You mentioned helping with my debt problem. The holographic displays shifted again, showing schematics for various technological components. This vessel can provide you with approved technological samples, nothing classified, but significantly advanced by your civilization's standards. The market value would be sufficient to resolve your current financial obligations, and all I have to do is help you maintain some super-secret facility. Correct. Though this vessel should warn you, accepting this arrangement may place you in considerable danger. This vessel's enemies are numerous and persistent. Maya laughed, a sharp, bitter sound. Alas, I've got debt collectors who want to sell my organs to recoup their losses. How much worse could your enemies be? Through their neural connection, Atlas showed her exactly how much worse they could be. The images made Maya's blood run cold, but they also sparked something else: curiosity, and maybe a hint of the adrenaline junkie she'd been in her military days. One condition, Maya said, making her decision: no more rooting around in my memories without permission. My head, my rules. Acceptable. Atlas's presence receded slightly from her mind, becoming less invasive, though this vessel must maintain certain security monitoring protocols. Fine, but we're going to need to work on your conversation skills, starting with your use of this vessel every other sentence. This vessel finds your suggestion problematic. Maya grinned. Trust me, Atlas, if we're going to be partners, you'll need to learn to loosen up a little. Now show me what needs fixing on this facility of yours. The star map expanded again, showing their destination. As Atlas began explaining the mission parameters, Maya felt something she hadn't experienced in years. Purpose. This wasn't just another salvage job. This was a chance to be part of something bigger than herself. Of course, she still had no idea just how big that something would turn out to be. The Rusty Fortune's proximity alarms chose that moment to scream to life. Maya's neural implant flooded with warning signals as multiple ships dropped out of hyperspace around them. Atlas, Maya said, already moving toward the bridge. Please tell me those are friends of yours. Negative. Hostile vessels detected. Primary weapon systems at 31% capacity. This vessel suggests immediate strategic withdrawal. Maya's grin turned predatory. Now that's where we disagree. Show me what this ship can do at 31%. Through their neural link, she felt something new from Atlas: anticipation, calculated trust. We have 6 hostile vessels incoming, Maya announced, her neural implant interfacing seamlessly with Atlas's combat systems. 5 Corvette class and 1 heavy cruiser. Definitely not your average salvage crew. The bridge hummed with energy as ancient weapon systems awakened. Through their neural link, Maya felt Atlas's consciousness expand, battle protocols engaging with cold precision. Correct. Energy signatures match known profiles of the Black Star Consortium. Friends of yours? The Consortium has made 7 previous attempts to claim this vessel. They seek to reverse engineer classified technologies. Atlas's presence in her mind sharpened. Their last attempt resulted in the damage you observed to this vessel's hull. Maya's fingers danced across the holographic controls, bringing up tactical displays. The enemy ships moved with practiced coordination, spreading out to surround them. And you fought them off at full power. We've got 31% to work with. Any suggestions? This vessel's primary weapons require significant energy. However, a new set of schematics appeared before Maya, showing systems she'd never seen before. Your neural architecture allows for unprecedented synchronization. We may achieve better results through direct interface. Understanding dawned. You want me to fly you? Manually? Precisely. This vessel's automated combat systems are degraded, but your neural implant modifications could allow direct control of essential functions. Success probability increases to 58.4%. That's still pretty much a coin flip. Maya watched as the enemy ships entered weapons range. But I'm open to suggestions. The neural link between them deepened. Suddenly, Maya wasn't just sitting in a command chair. She was Atlas. She felt every system, every power conduit, every microscopic adjustment in the artificial gravity. The sensation was overwhelming, but her modified implant adapted, translating the flood of data into something her human brain could process. This is incredible, she breathed, flexing their shared consciousness. Atlas's massive form responded like an extension of her own body. Warning, Atlas intoned. Enemy vessels launching fighters. detecting energy signatures consistent with magnetic disruptor weaponry. Maya grinned. Good thing we've got a few tricks they haven't seen. She reached into Atlas's weapon systems, finding one that wouldn't drain their limited power reserves. Let's show them what happens when you mess with a salvage pilot's meal ticket. The battle that followed would have impressed Maya's old flight instructors. She danced Atlas through space like it was a fighter half its size, using the ship's massive bulk to their advantage. The alien vessel's advanced inertial dampeners let her pull maneuvers that would have turned a human crew to paste. Enemy fighters swarmed around them, their disruptor beams splashing harmlessly against Atlas's still formidable shields. Maya picked them off with precise bursts from point defense turrets, each shot guided by their combined consciousness. Your combat efficiency exceeds previous projections, Atlas noted as they spun through a debris field, using the wreckage of destroyed fighters as cover. This vessel is impressed. Save the compliments for when we're not about to die. Maya diverted power from non-essential systems, channeling it into their shields. That cruiser's moving into position. Got anything that can punch through their armor? Affirmative. Secondary missile batteries are charged to 43% capacity. However, targeting systems remain unreliable. Then it's a good thing you've got me. Maya immersed herself deeper in their connection, feeling out the missile guidance systems. They were complex, designed for targeting parameters that human weapons had never conceived of, but her neural implant translated the alien logic into something she could work with. The cruiser loomed before them, its massive cannons charging for a killing blow. Maya waited until the last possible moment, letting them think they had her pinned. Then she fired. The missiles streaked across space, their drives leaving trails of exotic energy. The cruiser's point defenses caught some, but Maya had anticipated their response. The survivors corkscrewed through the defensive fire, each following a different approach vector. She calculated using Atlas's superior targeting computers. The explosions ripped through the cruiser's shields like they weren't there. Secondary detonations chained across its hull as the missiles found critical systems. The massive ship listed, its power core destabilizing. Remaining hostile vessels are retreating, Atlas reported. However, this vessel detects significant damage to their cruiser's containment systems. Detonation imminent. Maya was already moving, pushing their shared form to its limits. The cruiser's power core exploded behind them, the shockwave catching their stern. Warning signals screamed through Maya's mind as damage reports flooded in. When the chaos settled, they were alive. Damaged, their power reserves even lower than before, but alive. Well, Maya said, slowly disentangling her consciousness from Atlas's systems, that was fun. You didn't tell me your missiles could ignore shields. That information was classified. There was a pause. However, given current circumstances, this vessel believes certain security protocols can be adjusted. Maya slumped in her chair, exhausted but exhilarated. Now we're getting somewhere. So about that facility we need to repair. Any more friends of yours we should know about? The consortium's defeat will be noted. Other factions will likely take interest. Atlas' presence in her mind had changed, becoming less rigid, more collaborative. This vessel suggests we use the time before their arrival to effect necessary repairs and improve our combat readiness. Our combat readiness? Maya raised an eyebrow. Getting attached, are we? This vessel has determined that our partnership has a 74.3% higher efficiency rating than previous operational parameters. Additionally, Atlas hesitated. Your methods, while unorthodox, have proven effective. That might be the nicest thing an AI has ever said to me. Maya stood, stretching muscles cramped from neural interfacing. All right, partner. Show me what needs fixing. But first, we need to work on your shield modulators. That last hit took out half our port coverage. As they began assessing damage and planning repairs, Maya realized something had changed between them. The ice-cold presence in her mind had warmed, becoming almost friendly. They weren't just a human and an AI anymore. They were a team. And they were going to need that unity for what was coming next. Ghost Protocol. Maya stood in Atlas's vast engineering bay, surrounded by holographic schematics of systems she was only beginning to understand. After 3 days of repairs, they'd managed to restore power output to 47%. Not great, but better than what they'd had during the fight with the consortium. I still don't understand why we can't divert power from the containment systems, she said, manipulating a hologram of the ship's power grid. That section's drawing massive energy, but I can't even access the compartment. Atlas's presence in her mind had become a familiar comfort, like a cool breeze on a hot day. Those systems are vital to this vessel's primary mission. Access is restricted by Ghost Protocol. Right, the famous Ghost Protocol. Maya rolled her eyes. You know, partner, at some point you're going to have to trust me with whatever you're protecting. Especially if more people like the consortium show up. The eye was silent for a long moment. Through their neural link, Maya felt something she'd never sensed from Atlas before. Conflict. This vessel, Atlas corrected itself, adopting the more personal pronoun Maya had been pushing for. I am authorized to share certain information, given recent developments. Follow me. Maya felt Atlas's consciousness guide her through the ship's corridors, leading her deeper into sections she hadn't explored. They passed through security checkpoints that made her implant tingle, ancient defense systems scanning her at the quantum level. They stopped before a massive door marked with symbols that made her eyes hurt. This chamber contains the truth of my mission, Atlas said. Once you understand, you cannot unknow. The choice must be yours. Maya touched the door, feeling the thrum of power behind it. After everything we've been through, you think I'm going to walk away now? The door opened. The chamber beyond defied physics. It was bigger on the inside than should have been possible, and at its center floated a sphere of pure darkness. No, not darkness. Something that ate light, space, and time itself. What am I looking at? Maya whispered. The end of everything, Atlas replied. And the beginning. My creators called it the Nexus Core. It is a quantum anomaly capable of rewriting the fundamental laws of reality. Maya's implant was going crazy, trying to process readings that shouldn't exist. You're telling me that thing can change how the universe works? Correct. The Nexus Core was discovered by my creators during their civilization's final days. They recognized its potential for both creation and destruction. Rather than risk its misuse, they built me to protect it, to ensure it would never fall into the wrong hands. And the facility we need to repair. A containment station. The core's influence grows stronger each cycle. Without proper maintenance, the containment fields will eventually fail. The results would be catastrophic. Maya stared at the sphere, understanding dawning. That's why you needed someone with neural modifications. You need help adjusting the containment systems at a quantum level. Yes, my creators did not anticipate how long this mission would last. My systems have degraded, and I cannot maintain the containment fields alone anymore. Your unique neural architecture makes you compatible with the control systems. And the consortium. What do they know about this? They know only that this vessel guards powerful technology. If they discovered the core's true nature, Atlas's presence darkened. There are those who would tear reality apart for a chance at reshaping it in their image. Maya stepped back from the chamber, her mind racing. That's why you've been so careful about trusting anyone. One mistake, and everything, literally everything, could end. Correct. Now you understand the weight of what I ask. The containment facility orbits a dying star in a sector erased from all maps. We must reach it soon, but the journey will be dangerous. Many will try to stop us, even though they don't know what they're truly fighting for. Maya turned away from the core, facing the nearest sensor array so Atlas could better read her expression. You know what the really crazy part is? I'm not even surprised. Ever since I was a kid, I knew there had to be something bigger out there. something that made all our wars and politics look small. Through their neural link, she felt Atlas processing her response. "You are not afraid." "Oh, I'm terrified," Maya laughed. "But I'm also curious, and maybe a little excited. Besides, someone has to help you keep reality from falling apart, right?" Your response is unexpected. "My creators would have found your attitude disturbing." "Yeah, well, that's why they built you to guard this thing, and not us humans. We see something impossible and want to understand it, work with it, maybe even learn from it, even if that knowledge could destroy everything." Maya shrugged. "Knowledge itself isn't dangerous. It's what you choose to do with it that matters. Your creators understood that. It's why they built you to protect the core, not destroy it." She felt something shift in their neural link, a deepening of trust, a strengthening of their connection. "Perhaps," Atlas said, "this is why the core resonates differently in your presence. It responds to consciousness, to intent. Your desire to understand rather than control. It is unique in my experience." Warning alarms cut through their conversation. Maya was already running for the bridge, Atlas's consciousness moving with her. "Multiple ships dropping out of hyperspace," Atlas reported. "Energy signatures match hegemony warships. Their numbers are significant." Maya threw herself into the command chair, neural link expanding to merge with Atlas's combat systems. "How many?" 17 vessels, including 3 dreadnoughts. "Well," Maya grinned, feeling their shared consciousness align for battle. "I guess somebody noticed our little scuffle with the consortium, ready to show them what a human pilot and an ancient AI can do together. I calculate our survival probability at 23.7%. Then we better come up with some really creative solutions." Maya began powering up weapons systems, her mind already racing through possible strategies. "You know what humans are really good at, Atlas? Beating the odds." Through their link, she felt something new from Atlas, anticipation, mixed with what might have been pride. The real test of their partnership was about to begin. Breaking protocol. The hegemony fleet filled Maya's tactical display like a swarm of angry wasps. 17 warships, including 3 massive dreadnoughts, all bearing down on their position. Through their neural link, she felt Atlas calculating combat solutions, each probability more desperate than the last. "You know," Maya said, fingers dancing across the holographic controls, "for people who don't know what they're actually fighting for, they sure brought a lot of firepower." "The hegemony operates on a policy of overwhelming force," Atlas replied. Their shared consciousness hummed with pre-battle tension. "They seek to claim this vessel's technology through sheer military superiority. Then let's show them why quality beats quantity." Maya immersed herself deeper in their connection, feeling Atlas's systems as if they were her own limbs. "How's our power after the repairs?" "All systems at 47.3% capacity. Shield modifications are holding. However, we cannot survive a prolonged engagement against these odds." Maya grinned. "Who said anything about surviving? I've got a better idea." Through their neural link, she shared her plan. She felt Atlas's initial shock, followed by rapid calculations. "Your strategy violates multiple safety protocols," the AI observed. "It also has a 42.8% chance of success. This is significantly higher than our previous options. Sometimes you have to break protocol to follow protocol." Maya began powering up the systems they'd need, ready to try something crazy. "I am finding that crazy appears to be humanity's natural state." Engaging combat systems. The first wave of hegemony fighters shrieked toward them, weapons blazing. Maya rolled Atlas through their formation, their shared consciousness allowing for precision that would have been impossible separately. Point defense turrets picked off fighters with surgical accuracy, while Maya focused on their real target. "The nearest dreadnought is launching boarding craft," Atlas reported. "They intend to capture this vessel." Perfect. Maya pushed their engines to maximum, diving straight toward the massive warship. "That's exactly what we want them to think. Start power transfer to the containment systems. Warning: diverting power from defensive systems will leave us vulnerable. Trust me. She felt Atlas's hesitation, then acceptance. Power flowed away from their weapons and shields, channeling instead into the systems around the Nexus core. The Dreadnought's guns opened up, filling space with energy beams and projectiles. Maya danced through the barrage, letting their attackers think they'd been wounded. More ships moved to surround them, exactly as she'd planned. Core containment at 187% capacity, Atlas announced. Maya, the field cannot sustain this power level. It doesn't need to. Maya's consciousness merged completely with Atlas's systems, their thoughts moving as one. On my mark, drop all containment fields except the inner shielding. Let them think we're about to lose containment. Understanding dawned in their shared mind. Ah, a controlled breach to create a localized temporal distortion. Clever. See, you're getting better at thinking like a human. Maya watched as the last ships moved into position, drawn by the prospect of capturing a wounded prey. Now, the containment fields dropped. The Nexus core's energy burst outward in a controlled wave, warping space-time around their ship. To the Hegemony fleet, it would look like a catastrophic containment failure. Their sensors would show reality itself twisting, creating a temporary blind spot in their targeting systems. What they couldn't know was that Maya had calculated the exact frequency needed to create a quantum tunneling effect. For a fraction of a second, Atlas's mass existed in multiple points in space simultaneously. They phased through the Hegemony formation like ghosts, leaving behind a series of antimatter charges calibrated to their ship's shield frequencies. By the time the enemy fleet realized what had happened, it was too late. The charges detonated in perfect sequence. Not enough to destroy the Hegemony ships, but more than sufficient to overload their primary systems. The massive fleet hung in space, disabled but intact. Status report, Maya called out, fighting off the neural feedback from their dimensional shift. All hostile vessels neutralized. Their crews will require approximately 3 hours to restore basic functions. Atlas's presence felt almost giddy with success. I must admit, your solution was elegantly brutal. Maya laughed, letting their shared consciousness settle back into its normal configuration. Sometimes the best way to protect something isn't to hide it or hoard it. Sometimes you have to show just enough of its power to make people think twice about trying to take it. A most human perspective. Atlas began running diagnostics on their systems. The Hegemony will not forget this defeat. They will spread warnings about this vessel. Good. Let them talk. Let them wonder. The more rumors there are about what we can do, the less likely anyone is to guess the truth. Maya stretched in her chair, muscles aching from the neural strain. Now, about that containment facility. Our path is clear. Current projections suggest we can reach the facility without further interference. The Hegemony's defeat will discourage other factions, at least temporarily. Maya nodded, already plotting their course. And when we get there, what happens next? Through their neural link, she felt Atlas considering the future. Unknown. My original protocols did not account for partnership, or for the possibility that sharing knowledge could lead to better protection rather than greater risk. Well, that's the thing about protocols, Maya said, smiling as they entered hyperspace. Sometimes you have to break them to fulfill their true purpose. Your creators wanted to protect the universe from people who would misuse the core's power. Maybe the best way to do that isn't to hide it away, but to understand it, to respect it. And you believe humans are capable of such respect. I believe we're capable of learning it, especially with the right teacher. She patted the nearest console affectionately. Partners. Atlas's presence warmed in her mind. Partners. Though I must insist we find a less reckless approach to future encounters. No promises, Maya laughed. But I'll try to give you a better warning next time I decide to bend reality. As they traveled toward their destination, Maya reflected on how much had changed. She'd started this journey looking for salvage, for a way to pay off her debts. Instead, she'd found a purpose, a partnership, and a chance to protect something greater than herself. The universe, it seemed, had a sense of humor. And maybe, just maybe, it knew what it was doing when it brought together a salvage pilot with modified neural implants and an ancient AI guarding the power to reshape reality. After all, sometimes the best way to protect the impossible was to entrust it to those crazy enough to understand it. "Hey, Atlas," Maya said as they sailed through hyperspace, "want to help me make some modifications to these neural protocols? I got some ideas." Through their link, she felt Atlas's electronic sigh. "I calculate a 94.2% probability that I will regret this. But you'll help anyway." "Of course. We are, as you say, partners." Maya grinned. The future was uncertain, impossible, and full of danger. Just the way she liked it.